books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, As I Learn, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome and peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to Signs with Sean. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever y'all are in this world today. I just wanted to come on here, man, and go live and deal with the Delta variant, specifically a literature review regarding the Delta variant. We're going to take a look at a multitude of sources, and we're going to get into a little dialogue regarding what the Delta variant is, what it means to us, and why should we even care? Possibly. So I'm going to go back to a previous lecture presentation that I did on this channel, right? And we're going to break down some specifics out of that presentation, and then we're going to bring it forth. But before we do that, peace to everybody in the chat. Lamar Chavis, Dave B. Jerome from West Africa, Zane, Keish, what's good? Long time no see. Sister Safa, what's good with you, sis? The people that catch the video later, peace to you. You know what I mean? Please like the show, share the show, get the information out there. Let's get some correction and some correlation. I don't know if Unc is busy at the moment. We'll see if Unc is because he had just called me and I didn't answer because I guess I was doing something, but I'll try to call and see what he got going on. However, let me go ahead and share my screen, and let's get some people in the building while I'm doing it. So last night, y'all know we ended the show dealing with social media scientists and just basically critiquing some information or some things that were said in a chat on Unc West timeline. So we're gonna go back to Unc West timeline, and we're going to deal with Brother Har. Now, hold on, before I go any further, let me grab the link to this show, which I doubt he joined, but I'm gonna put it on there because I'm talking about him. Now, he's not my friend, never will be. And the only time I even engage in any type of conversation with him is with Unc West. And, he been live with Unc before, but the dude argues from ignorance. But yeah, if he ain't busy, you can hop on this panel with me, bro, and we can get some straightening. Because really, at the end of the day, you just doing a lot of bomb gumping. All right, so he says, as his response, remember last night, he says, LOL, so explain the Delta variant. This is what he asked to do. Explain the Delta variant. All right, so what happens? We reply, right? Him and CK, they going back and forth, and all these other people. I ain't trying to get into all that, but I replied last night. I said, the Delta variant is a mutation that sprang from India to the UK and now is the leading variant in the world, causing infection and transmission to increase. The Delta variant has a lot to do with unvaccinated as well as adapting and mutating as viruses do. He says, we know it's a mutation, yet show is the science, don't just talk. Now, he asked, ladies and gentlemen, he asked right here to explain the Delta variant. He didn't ask anyone to show or prove anything. He said, explain the Delta variant. I clearly explained the Delta variant. Okay, I get the notification and I see he says show. Show is the science. He can't spell. Show is the science that proves it has anything to do with people not being vaccinated. What I'm asking for is simple because you guys talk so confidently as if you know, so it should be easy for you to elaborate. You asked Ankh to explain the Delta variant. I explained it. Now you're asking another question, but you're assuming that we know it's a mutation. So let me say this to you. A virus can't mutate if it doesn't have a host. I'm going to say it slowly. A virus can't mutate unless it has a host. If you vaccinate people, what happens? It can't survive, so it can't mutate. If it can't find a viable host to survive or to coexist in or to adapt and adjust and live in, because viruses are dead. They only, you know what I mean? They need a host. So if you don't have it, I don't know how to say that. If you don't have a host, you don't have a virus. It goes away. The only reason we're getting all of these variants today is because we don't have enough of the population vaccinated to keep it from mutating and spreading. This is asinine. Please like this show. Share this show. Let's get it in. I'm finna turn up on y'all. Y'all at work anyway, so you can't do nothing but listen or look in the chat. Like the show, share the show, man. Now this Negro looking for the link in the chat. I'm finna give you the link. I know you listening. I'm finna send you the link. So I explained it. Now, him and CK go back and forth. That's none of my business. I ain't engaging in entertaining. I shake my head. I hit him with a plethora of sources. And we're going to get into what I presented to him. And then I just said, I basically summed up the science. Yet you asked me to show. Now, take your time and read the data. I said, no, you didn't sum up the science because you didn't answer the question still. No, your question, watch this. You asked Ankh to explain the Delta variant. Then I explained it to you. I explained it. You changed the argument to show the science. You ain't asked about the science, fam. You asked Unc West to explain it. I did. He said, LOL. The context was to explain it because it contradicts what he said. You see what I'm saying? Like he moving the goalposts. He making arguments Unc ain't making because his initial post states at this point, SARS-CoV-2 is a vaccine preventable disease. Anyone not getting a vaccine is playing Russian roulette. The longer you play, closer you get. It had nothing to do with the Delta variant. So it's explained. Now he continues this little riff. This is what my original question was. It wasn't. You asked him to explain the Delta variant. And I gave it right back to him. Then he keeps talking, right? Then I give him my video, what a variance. I said, Har, your question was explain the Delta variant, man. That was your question. After that, you asked for the science and it was provided and explained. You're not even clear on what you're asking. You're just trying to argue and display your ignorance on the post. Then I say, this shows you have a lack of understanding, Har. I clearly summed up what the Delta variant was. I clearly stated why it is what it is, because it's two variants in one, basically, and its origin is and somehow that is now what you're. I meant to put not what you're asking. Then I show with sources that the Delta variant is the leading variant in the world, and that 99.5% of the deaths are from unvaccinated people in the last 6 months. And the variant linked is the Delta variant. You ask Unc to explain the variant, it's done. He keeps typing. Right? Fam, we can go live right here on Facebook. The question is simple. I'm live right now. It's so simple. If it's so simple, I just explained it to you. I explained it. It's two variants in one. What is the science saying? Oh, okay. Let's see what the science is saying. But before I go any further, let me see Unc delete. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah, I was going to do that. I'm going to end up kicking him off. Just to be real. Because he doesn't understand something. And that's not my fault. I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over what the heck a variant is. I'm not even going to take it out. I'm not going to show it in a full screen. Check. Oh, yeah, you can see it. So I'm not going to go into a full presentation mode with this. I'm talking about he be here in 5 minutes. All right, cool. Okay. I'm going to skip all the other stuff and go right into definitions so I can explain what a variant is for everybody. Okay. A virus variant is an isolate whose genome sequence differs from that of a reference virus. No inference is made about whether the change in genome sequence causes any change in the phenotype of the virus. The meaning of variant has become clouded in the era of whole viral genome sequencing, because nearly every isolate may have a slightly different genome sequence. Mutant forms of the virus are called variants. In some cases, the variants are genetically distinguishable, but not different. Their mutations have no effect on their biology. A virus with one or more mutations is referred to as a variant. A virus with one or more mutations is referred to as a variant. How many different mutations of the virus do we have? More than one. We initially had it the Chinese variant, right? The original variant, right? Then we get the UK, right? We get the UK, then we get the South America. We get the South America, then we get the Brazil. We get the Brazil, we get Cali in New York. We get Cali in New York. Before we get Brazil, we get India. After India, we get Brazil. Then the India variant and the UK variant mix, and then next thing you know, there's a different mutation going on there, right? So we're like at a whole bunch of different variants. So because I'm talking about that and I'm clearly defining that, I bring us to the genomic epidemiology of novel coronavirus global subsampling, which is what? Next Strand. Who brought y'all this before the scientists did? Sean did. When did I do that? Before we seen our master teacher, Vince Racaniello, show it on the screen. I had it on the screen already. So let's deal with it. If you look at this chart very clearly, we have the alpha variant here. You see that? Alpha variant, delta variant, kappa variant, gamma variant, lambda variant, theta variant, lambda variant. The 21H is the, epsilon variant. Then we got 20G, we got 21H, we got the beta variant, we got the eta variant, we got the EU variant. You see what I'm saying? How many? Let's see how many of these numbers we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different freaking variants. Why do you think that we have so many of these variants? Because of unvaccinated people. Okay, let me take my 15 back and let me be more specific. Because inside some of these shade colors, inside some of these shade colors come from a root variant. So let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because these other ones are just subclades, as you can see, of base ones. So there you go. Beta, alpha, gamma, delta, kappa, epsilon, eta, theta, lambda. Let's go back to what a variant is. Let's clearly define it again for the people in the way back who may just be joining or who have no idea. A virus variant is an isolate whose genome sequence differs from that of a reference virus. No inference is made about whether the change in genome sequencing causes any change in the phenotype of the virus. The meaning of the variant has become clouded in the era of whole viral genome sequencing, because nearly every isolate may have a slightly different genome sequence. Mutant forms of the virus are called variants. In some cases, the variants are genetically distinguishable, but not different. Their mutations have no effect on their biology. A virus with one or more mutations is referred to as a variant. Most of the time, variants do not affect a virus's physical structure, and in those instances, they eventually disappear. However, there are certain cases when a mutation impacts part of a virus genetic makeup that does change its behavior. What up, Teddy? What up, everything? What up, Benita? What up, 220? What's good? What's good? We in the building. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. We going hard. So let's go back, ladies and gentlemen, and let's see what has transpired. He talking about Facebook Live. We ain't even friends, bro. I'm gonna go on Facebook Live. I'm live right now. Play with me. LOL. So explain the Delta variant. You're not specific. You didn't ask Unc for science. You asked Unc to explain the Delta variant. So I explained it. The Delta variant is a mutation that sprang from India to the UK, and now it is the leading variant in the world, causing infections and transmissions to increase. Delta variant has a lot to do with unvaccinated, as well as adapting and mutating as a virus do. Explain the science, he says. Explain the science, he says. A virus with one or more mutations is referred to as a variant. Most of the time, variants do not affect a virus's physical structure, and in those instances, they eventually disappear. However, there are certain cases when a mutation impacts part of a virus' genetic makeup that does change its behavior. Now, he knows that the virus is a mutation. If you know that the virus is a mutation, oh, y'all think I'm making this up? He says it right behind my comment. When I answer, he says it right behind my comment. We know it's a mutation. That's what he says. We know it's a mutation. That's how you know it's a variant. That explains the Delta variant. I gave you its origins. I told you I clearly gave you the layman's term of it. Now, I didn't know that I needed to define what a variant was to you because you said explain the Delta variant. And I clearly did. Then I gave you a bunch of sources because you asked me for sources. So then I began to rumble off sources for you and even dropped a video, right? What are variants? So that you could clearly understand what variants are. But no, you didn't watch the video. You just kept typing. And then you talk about go live. So I'm pretty sure that you commented again. I think you did. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just spinning right now. Oh, CK responded. Okay, so let's go answer the question for the brother. And if he wants to jump in the chat, if he wants to jump on the panel, he can get the link. He got the link. It's on the thread. So let's go be more specific because he wants to do this on a Facebook post that you really can't educate any people on, but you can help onlookers. All right. The Delta Plus variant of SARS-CoV-2, how does it compare with the Delta variants? Now, everybody in the chat, we should be clear. A variant is one or more mutations is referred to as a variant. Okay, a virus variant is an isolate whose genome sequence differs from the reference virus. The reference virus is, okay, let me slow it down. The reference virus is beta. China is the reference virus. Everything after this goes all the way down to lambda. We get to lambda, okay? I'm going backwards, but you get what I'm saying. 2019, we just had 19A. We just go here and we get all the way here. Here's our original. Wuhan. Clade 19A. It dominated and two other mutations appeared. When two other mutations appear, we get here. So I want to go back to his question. To the question he asked Ankh. Okay. Explain So, LOL. So, explain the Delta variant. LOL. So, I said the Delta variant is a mutation that sprang from India to the UK and now is the leading variant in the world, causing infections and transmissions to increase. The Delta variant has a lot to do with unvaccinated as well as adapting and mutating as viruses do. So let's go. As ever more SARS-CoV-2 variants emerge, governments and public health experts continue to consider the best strategies to contain their spread. There are currently 11 variants of the SARS-CoV-2 virus that WHO is monitoring. One of these variants, the Delta variant, also known as the B1617.2. Remember, we had the B1611. The B1617.2 lineage was first identified in India in December 2020 and quickly became the most common variant in the country. It has demonstrated 40 to 60% increased transmission in comparison with the previously dominated Alpha variant and is currently the dominant SARS-CoV-2 variant in the United Kingdom. That's the summary. Let's go back to next strand. Okay? Because it says clearly here that its lineage, the Delta, right? Mix it up with the Alpha. Alpha was the Alpha. Look where Alpha at. Look where Alpha at. Y'all see me? It's blanking. Beta down there. Look where Alpha at. Okay. Delta. See Delta? Here go Delta. Alpha, Delta. Alpha, Delta. This was the leading. This became the takeover. Okay. Started in India. Now it's in the UK. Meanwhile, researchers recently identified another variant, the Delta Plus variant, also known as the B1617.2.1 or the AY.1. The B121A. So we have the 21, look, the 21A. You got the 21B, you got the 21A. Look, you got the 21D down here. You got the 21F, the 21G, the 21E. Y'all following me, right? There's a reason why I keep going back to next strand, because I want to show you how the virus is mutating. It's mutating because it has host. As long as it has host, it can continue. Mutated forms of the virus are called variants. Mutated forms of the virus are called variants. 21A, 21B, 21C, 21D, 21E, 21F, 21G, 21H. Mutated forms of a virus are called variants. In some cases, these variants are genetically distinguishable, but not different. Their mutations have no effect on their biology. The Delta Plus variant is a sublineage of the Delta variant, with the only known difference being an additional mutation, K417N, in the virus spike protein, the protein that allows it to infect healthy cells. This mutation is also found in the Beta and Gamma variants, which researchers identified in South Africa and Brazil, respectively. What's a spike protein? I don't want nobody having no questions. None. Even though we should know, I don't want nobody having no questions. I'm finna bring you in here in just a second. Give me a second. So, you see this? These little things right here, that's your spike. To sum it up and keep it simple, this is how it latches onto your cell, and this is how it gets into the body. And I'm going to show everybody a good example of how the coronavirus invades the body. I got a little 7-minute video that I'm going to play for you. It's a little 7-minute video, and it's going to go from there. Before I go any further, let me bring on the man who keep the stuff flowing, Uncle K. What up, God Killer?
What's up, yo? What's up with you, bro?
Cooling, man.
Yeah,
Dealing with your trolls on your page, bro. You know how it go.
Yeah, we keep them stirred up, yo. We got the Raid and the roach spray, so they always get stirred up when we spray them down with the killer information. That's real.
Yeah.
So yeah, you talk about the Delta variant. There's also another variant. I think they call it the Beta variant. So really, I don't know if you really kind of discussed that. So you know, we always.
You talking about the Lambda?
Lambda, yeah, the Lambda, yeah. So you know, we need to really recognize what's going on here. So we always study evolution. It was a reason for studying evolution, so that we can understand how living organisms transform in their environment. So the environment we're talking about right now would be the human body, which is an ecosystem unto itself. And so when the unvaccinated run across a particular variant, right, or let's just say the coronavirus in general, it stands a chance to evolve and transform in that environment to make it more either infectious or less infectious. It doesn't have to go a certain way, right? So just because it's a different variant don't mean it's going to be successful. Remember, in evolution, the tweak to it, right, doesn't have to be perfect, right? It just has to work, and it can just barely work. And that's how evolution really works on any living organism. It just has to be able to survive into the next environment, right? And so these different environments is caused by, in the most part, for those who aren't vaccinated. Okay, so you can be a person who's not vaccinated and get the coronavirus and you don't even get that sick. And then by the time you pass it on, the thing has transformed a little bit. And so, what's his name? Reza Islam said one of the most idiotic things that he could possibly say out of his mouth. His thing was, so if you understand the vaccines work, right, and you're comfortable with it working, why the hell are you worried about me? Right? Which is, well, what the answer is because it's you that will continue to pass on the quote-unquote coronavirus. Those who are vaccinated, it stops it at the door. That's the purpose of getting vaccinated. Because it stops you from getting sick, right? 96% of the time, depending on what vaccine you got, and it stops you from passing on and transforming the daggone virus. And so they don't understand science and they don't understand evolution because these are things they actually teach against, right? So I think what needs to be understood is that the new Delta variant is far more infectious than the other variants so far. You need to know that.
Hold on.
Easy to catch.
Delta point is the 0.2. We're dealing with the 0.2 now. We got Delta 1 and Delta 2.
Yeah, that's what we got you for. Super technical. Like you're supposed to be, because that's what scientists do. Right? They're very technical, they're very precise, and they precision at what they're talking about. And that's why this class right here that's been going on for the last damn near year and a half, is that conversation, the class itself, is essential for our community. It's one of the best classes we have that is ongoing, right? So a point needs to be really made here that the black community are now being civilized more often than anybody else. There's a few factors here. Social economic status, right? Not having proper medical care. All these factors play in us spreading the coronavirus. But the cheapest thing we can do, right, is get goddamn vaccinated. But what's affecting us the most now, and I gotta say it, is those bullshit people like Rizza Islam and he's bullshit, right? And I'm saying the information he teaches is bullshit. I don't know him as a person, but what type of person would actually spread bullshit that could potentially harm our community? And we can go down the line, and I name names. Ali Baba Muhammad, he's a charlatan. Minister Inky, Stinky Inky, he's a charlatan. Dr. Feelgood Valentine, he's a charlatan. Dr. Sabi and all his students, they're charlatans. See, I'm not even here to be liked. I'm like you, Sean. I don't give a damn whether you like me or not. The conversation is, can you get past what we're saying? Do you have something that can actually protect our community against these new variants? What is it that you would have that would put us in a position to continue to teach our babies without them being knocked off, or without them being sick, or without them carrying on virus so it can mutate again? That's really the question at hand. Whether you like me or not is not even important. More people speak better than me all day, every day. More people can pronounce their words better than me all day, all day. But the point is, can they get past what you're bringing on a daily basis? Can they get past your posts, right? Can they get past the information that we're promoting? Can they do that? It's the real question, bro. Got 10,000 followers or not, that's another whole thing. But can they get past the information that we bring in, and is the information that they bring in helping the community survive healthy, right? People wear unks. The unk is life. But how can you have a life if you're running around sick and passing on sickness? How can you support Egyptian ideology, but yet everything you talk about is 10 on that? That makes sense to me, Sean. And I'm just trying to tell you, bro, like, at the end of the day, man, listen, I don't care what it is you think. You don't like me, look at the information and find a guy that you do like. If you don't like Sean, look at the information and find a person that's kicking it that you do like. But at the end of the day, bro, science is undefeated. Science is actually studying the subject. That's why you're able to stay ahead of the curve. That's why the families that we created, brother, has been ahead of the curve from day one. People on the fence, when they listen to this show, right, when they listen to our shows, right, they get off the goddamn fence. If you're entrenched on the other side, then you're in that war against the goddamn variants. Because we're actually in a war, right? We're in an arms race. And I don't know how to understand this. We're in an arms race against pathogens that will evolve. I said this from the beginning. We say evolution because we're surrounded by viruses and pathogens. And they seek to kill us. They seek to disease us. They seek to pass on to their next generation of viruses and bacteria. What is it that human beings have that can help fight against that war? Why is it that West Africans that come from America decided not to use, quote unquote, their herbs? They was the masters of herbs. African custom and traditions clearly show, along with the Chinese traditions, that they understood herbs. As a matter of fact, those in West Africa understood herbs so well that they understood they could not continue using herbs against viruses. That's what I bring to y'all. Simple as that. We had mastered the herbs so much so that we understood that they were ineffective against stimulating the immune system. So we come up with the fight the virus with the virus. This is what West Africa brings to North America. This is the process of understanding study. So for me and what I'm saying, right, I feel like that the accomplishments of West Africa was far greater than anything Egypt brought. That's what I'm saying. That the pyramids was great. That the scientific method was super great. And being at the foundation of science was good. But God damn it, that goddamn gonna fight the virus with the virus, yo. I'm saying that's unprecedented. And we can use that today in our community. And this is why we study history from a crystal clear lens of understanding who we are, bro. I just want to kind of throw that in there, right? Because just because we be quiet sometimes, and just because we ain't doing shows sometimes, right, you got to let other groups shine, right? Only but so much space and so much time, right? So we got to let we're all essential in actually keeping the community healthy and keeping the community in tune to what's going on around them so they can protect themselves and not be out here like a bunch of crazy people making up shit and we sucking in information. So we're more vulnerable to misinformation, and this is what's going on right now, Sean. So we got to double down, triple down now, Sean. We got to get up on that vaccine thing. We gotta keep the push going because it's the misinformation that these shows are spreading that's going all through hip hop, all through black media, that is affecting our lives now, bro. We in the fight of our life, bro, and I appreciate you, yo. I appreciate the science with Sean.
Word, appreciate that. So I wanna kind of go back and deal with your boy, man, real quick, and let me share my screen again. Hard, I don't know why you deal with him, but I'm let me share my screen real quick. So I want to pick back up on something because initially he wanted you to explain the Delta variant, and you know what I'm saying. I gave him the presentation that we already did, but I'm gonna keep going back to the point. All right. To keep it simple, a variant is a virus with one or more mutations. That's just referred to as a variant. All right, to go a little bit further to back up what the reason that you said what you said regarding evolution is because when Charles Darwin first wrote about the law of natural selection, he imagined that evolution in response to selection would be slow. Humans would be left, and he thought, to study the consequences of natural selection, but unable to see the process in real time. It would have delighted Darwin to know that in this way that he was wrong. The good news is that the consequences of natural selection, evolution, and even the origins of species can be observed in real time. This is true, for example, with the experiments done on bacteria in laboratories. It is also true with regard to the virus that causes COVID-19. Much as the finches, now called Darwin's finches, evolved after having arrived in the Galapagos Islands, the virus that causes COVID-19 is evolving rapidly as the virus continues its global spread. In this light, I thought it would be worth sitting down, virtually of course, with a group of ecologists and evolutionary biologists who have focused their life's work on the viruses in the ways of peculiar. So I'm gonna go back now to the screen of NextStrand, right? Because now we have a main virus, the 19A, which they don't even constitute the 19A anymore or the original source. That's China, right? So now we have beta, alpha, gamma, delta, kappa, epsilon, eta, theta, lambda, and lambda. That is our new variations of variants that exist, that they're watching, that they're mapping, that they're sequencing, right? So now we know what a variant is. I slowed it down with y'all regarding the variant, the difference between the 0.21 and the 0.2 and the 0.21 of the Delta variant is the K417N, which is the spike protein. So this new Delta variant or the Delta Plus variant has a different spike protein. Now, what risk does the variant pose? Okay, the WHO shared with Reuters that for the moment, the variant does not seem to be common, currently accounting for only a small fraction of the Delta sequences. Yet, Delta and other circulating variants of concern remain a high public health risk as they have demonstrated increasing in transmission, which is what I said on the post. I said the transmission increase. Furthermore, since India has labeled this variant as a variant of concern, the country's SARS-CoV-2 Consortium of Genomics, which is made up of 28 laboratories dedicated to whole genome sequencing of the SARS-CoV-2 virus and its evolving variants, continues to follow the evolutionary of Data Plus. Now, what is the big deal about the Data Plus? It increases transmissibility. It has a stronger binding to receptors of lung cells and potential reduction of monoclonal antibody response. Let me slow it down again. What the heck does monoclonal antibody response mean? Let's look it up. Monoclonal antibody response means therapy is a form of immunotherapy that uses monoclonal antibodies to bind monospecifically to certain cells or proteins. All right. The objective is that this treatment will stimulate the patient's immune system to attack those cells. Alternatively, radioimmune therapy, a radioactive dose, localizes a target cell, delivering a lethal chemical dose. So what is a stronger binding to receptor, right? We need to know what that is. Now, I don't want to read this, it's too long, but basically the binding receptor goes back to the imagery that we already showed when dealing with the spike protein and how it attaches and binds and it does all of these things and it gets into your system and runs rampant and goes there. So we're cool there. What I want to do now is I'm going to leave here because it talked about monoclonal antibody response. And then, you know, you've heard about the lamivimab and estiavimab, right? And Regeneron-CoV-2. Those are combination therapies, right? So they're looking for monoclonals to treat. And this variant potentially reduces the effectiveness of those monoclonal antibody treatments. That's why I brought you here, right? Because you had, you know, we had our brothers over there pushing some lamivimab and saying that it would be effective and all of those things, but the trial data has shown that it was helping to prevent, but it was still some work that needed to be done, and we still haven't got all the data on that. So now you know why while the Delta variant plus is significant because it reduces the monoclonal antibody response. All right, meaning that you don't get infected. And the treatment gonna be a little harsh on you. All right. Now, moving on. Oh, yeah, I think we know what the spike protein is, right? I told y'all what the spike protein is. Well, I showed y'all what the spike protein is, but I clearly didn't define it as such. But the spike protein is basically, again, that little red part of the virus that attaches to the cell, right? It has a certain structure, and this is what they mean by the new Delta variant having a new spike protein, which means that because of a new spike protein, doesn't mean the vaccines that are already out and working right now can't latch on or attach to this one and defend and keep it out of the body. It's just basically, you know, some more science to go with that. But if they need to make adjustments to the spike, they can do that real easily. Moderna's ahead of the curve. They already made adjustments with the spike in their vaccines. Pfizer, I believe, is doing the same thing presently and testing against it. Johnson & Johnson is cool. You can go get a Moderna or a Pfizer booster shot to go with that, and you're in the door. Let's go on to our next article, SARS-CoV-2 variants and vaccines. This is basically from the New England Journal of Medicine. And in the abstract, it specifically states viral variants of concern may emerge with dangerous resistance to the immunity generated by the current vaccines to prevent coronavirus 19. He asked on your post, he said on your post to explain this with science. He doesn't know that if a virus is mutating and a virus is more transmissible, then it needs a host, meaning that his unvaccinated behind is a subject of the virus mutating and continuing to be transmissible. Just like someone in the chat stated that, you know, they're not against the vaccine, they're just not taking the vaccine because of a personal preference, nothing against the vaccine, they just don't want to take the vaccine. They are subjected to being a host. And the virus can get in them and be transmitted to someone else, and it's going to mutate. And that makes it susceptible. So he's asking us to show him where this says that. So I'm going to show him. Well, I've already showed him in the definition. When I go back to the presentation. In the definition. A virus variant is an isolate whose genome sequence differs from that of a reference virus. No inference is made about whether the change in the genome sequence is caused by any change in the phenotype of the virus. The meaning of the variant has become clouded in the era of a whole viral genome sequencing because nearly every isolate may have a slightly different genome sequencing. Mutant forms of the virus are called variants. In some cases, the variants are genetically distinguishable, not different. Their mutations have no effect on their biology. A virus with one or more mutations is called a variant. Most of the time, variants do not affect the virus's physical structure, and in those instances, they eventually disappear. However, there are certain cases when a mutation impacts part of the virus genetic makeup that does change its behavior. Let me go on down here to a couple of more slides. Now, natural selection and adaptation play a role in determining which variants or strands become dominant, as in those cases, in those that develop competitive advantages such as increased transmissibility or the ability to evade immunity. This is what we're dealing with: increased transmissibility and the ability to evade immunity. Let me go back. Thank Uncle Fair. All right, there you go. So even in the case of that, now I'm gonna leave it right here on the presentation part, but I keep referring back to that because he wants to know how unvaccinated people can cause variants to exist. We're showing you how. We're slowing it down for the delay, and we're using mutation. Mutation and adaptation are the reasons why. If you have a viable host, you get mutation and adaptation because the virus has a place to survive. It has, okay, it can't get it can't get me, it can't get people around me. Where is it gonna go? Somewhere where it can be viable in another host. And that's an unvaccinated person. If it can't get a vaccinated person, it's going to get an unvaccinated person. We are not at our threshold where the virus can't survive. There's too many viable hosts. We have a host in the chat. We got hosts on Unc's post. And most of them don't even understand that. And there's repercussions that come with infection, especially with people with pre-existing conditions. All right, so the efforts to track viral mutation.
Stop right there, Sean. Stop right there real quick. Stop right there real quick. Let me translate what you just said.
Go ahead.
It's like having sex with a woman with a condom. The bodily fluids are not transferred. The vaccine in this case is the condom. So if you don't have on a condom, you will exchange body fluids. Condoms might not be 100% effective, right? But they're far more effective than not in a condom, right? And allowing your semen, right, to get into the woman. So if you don't have on a condom, you're spreading your seed around, which allows your seed to get into a woman. If you're not vaccinated, you're passing on the goddamn virus. It's not even that complicated. It's not that hard. And so that's why we see people who fight. Watch this. The conversation is very straightforward. I can already tell who you are by your conversation against evolution. So if all these people I named prior, they do not support evolution. All the pseudos arguing against the vaccine, they do not support evolution. It's a running theme here, right? It's simple. Evolution helps you explain what's going on with the different variations of different viruses and the whole of how they spread and how they survive in different ecosystems. It's an evolutionary conversation, bro. Simple as that. Guarantee you on that post when people talking that shit, if I put up a post and say, is evolution real? The same nuts will jump on the post. You cannot understand the coronavirus if you do not understand evolution. Go ahead, Sean.
Right. All right, So again, well, we stopped off at with the New England Journal of, Journal of Medicine. So variants of concern with increased, here's the thing, variants of concern with increased transmissibility are contributing to the reversal of the decrease in COVID-19 case counts that occurred in many countries earlier this year. But the B117 or the alpha variant concern increases viral transmissibility and is emerging as an increasing common variant. Now, when this was initially written, it was the alpha, as I stated, in a more up-to-date source. That's why I led with the more up-to-date science, because it may look like I'm working backwards, but I'm not working backwards. Because here, watch this, additional variants that are responsible for many deaths, such as the B1617.2, which is called the what? Delta, continue to emerge. So far, there is good evidence that currently identified variants of concern evade the most important vaccine effect, that of prevention of disease, severe disease, describes key properties of mutations, and then 5 selected variants. The fact that a few amino acids in the spike protein have changed independently in variants identified in various parts of the world indicates that these are convergent changes and suggests that vaccines that incorporate these selected residues could cover several variants. So that's letting you know right now, because of the technology that we have today, that we can in real time adjust the vaccines to protect against all these variants whose spike protein have independently changed. Let's move forward. Now we got SARS-CoV-2, Delta, VOC, and Scotland, the demographics, risk of hospital admission, and vaccine effectiveness. Yes, I said the risk of hospital admission, because this new Delta variant, people that are being hospitalized today are unvaccinated people. 99% of the people that have died over the last 6 months have been unvaccinated people. The variant of concern with the rise in hospitalizations and death is the Delta variant, which is of concern. So when your boy said, let me go back. When your boy said, explain the Delta variant, and then I respond, the Delta variant is a mutation that sprang from India to the UK and now is the leading variant in the world, causing infections and transmissions to increase. That was an accurate assessment of explaining the Delta variant. However, the Delta variant has a lot to do with unvaccinated as well as adapting and mutating as viruses do, because you make yourself a viable host for the virus. And for the person in the chat that asked the question about it, yeah, you got 2 pre-existing conditions. Absolutely. Guess what happens with people with pre-existing? The virus gets in your body and will mutate multiple times. We have a current lady where the virus mutated 31 times in her body. She had HIV. It mutated 31 times in her body over a period of less than 6 months. Right? That caused more damage to her specifically. So with pre-existing conditions, what it can do is it can mutate multiple times, and then when you transmit it, or if you pass it along to somebody else, then it's a whole nother dang on mutation, because it has now adapted. And you live in New York. There is a New York variant, which is different from the one in California. It's different than the one in the Midwest. So let's continue. Since he says we went, I didn't answer his question and he wanted to see the science. Send him the link and he talking about Facebook Live. All right, so there's 5 things that you need to know about the Delta variant, okay? We're going to deal with this very slowly. 1, the Delta is more contagious than the other virus strands. Now, they say strands, but we're going to use variants. Why? Because we've clearly defined what the word actually means, even though strands and variants are interchangeable depending on the terminology of the epidemiologist, or the virologist, or the immunologist, or the infectious disease person that you may be listening to. All right. So the Delta is the name of the variant B1617.2. We clearly know what that is, and we saw its emergence in December 2020 in India, and then it goes on up into the UK, and now we have this thing going on. But the UK initially had their own variant, so you had the UK, the UK and the Indian strand kind of coexist together, creating a whole new different variant, and now we got issues. All right, cool, okay. So the next one is unvaccinated people are at risk. Okay, so why does it matter to you, Har? You asked this question and you said with the science. This clearly answers the question. Unvaccinated people are at risk. People who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 are most at risk. In the US, there is a disproportionate number of unvaccinated people in the southern Appalachian states, including Bama, Arkansas, Georgia, Mississippi, Missouri, West Virginia, where vaccinated rates are low. Now, kids and young people are concerned as well. A recent study from the UK showed that children and adults under 50 were 2.5 times more likely to become infected with the Delta. Excuse me. And so far, no vaccine has been approved for children between 5 and 12 in the US, although the US and a number of other countries have authorized vaccinations for adolescents and young children or are considering them. Now, as older age groups get vaccinated, those who are younger are unvaccinated will be a higher risk of COVID-19 with any variant. But the Delta variant seems to be impacting younger age groups more than previous variants. Point number 3, the Delta could lead to hyperlocal outbreaks. Okay. Number 4, there's still more to learn about the dang on variant, but based on what we know today, that hey, there's a lot of symptoms that come behind it. We just don't know. But this is one of the breakthrough questions, right? Breakthrough infections. Delta variant is breaking through, and now we understand why, because it has the spike, the amino acids in the spike, right? Different from the other ones. Right. So now we know how some potential breakthrough viruses can come, because it's if you have 2 different type of spikes and they're not latching on to one another, there's a higher risk or the potential of a breakthrough infection, and no vaccine is 100%. All right. So
Sean,
go ahead.
real quick. So okay, so say you caught coronavirus naturally, right? You can rest assured. Right, that can break through. All right?
Yes.
Do we got any paperwork on that? I know I'm right on that, but we got any source on that? Like, it's common sense, but I want to, you know what I'm saying, suppose anything. But if it can break through a vaccine, then it can actually break through, your natural immunity that you got from catching the other variants.
Yes. With the Delta variant, natural infection, people with natural infection do present a chance for reinfections, although they're rare and but not really fully studied. Breakthrough infections do occur in natural infections because the antibodies worn off in less than 4 months. They decrease in 4 months. The average is around 6 to 8 months for those lasting antibodies, with the duration of up to 11 months. And however, the least amount of antibodies a body has, the more susceptible you are of having a breakthrough infection, and your chances of increasing. And then with an increased transmissibility, and infection from a different variant can possibly, and I'm saying possibly, but not, just leaving some room there, possibly cause either a different reaction than your first reaction, meaning that maybe your first asymptomatic reaction, you didn't have any responses, but this one may force or cause responses, and then, or could ravage your body, your lungs, your heart, your liver, your kidney, your brain, your sense of loss, taste of smell can be extended. You had people with gastrointestinal issues, you know, after being infected with COVID, that can persist for at least 6 months, we know of, based on some recent data. You know, you still run the risk of health, you still run health risk. Now, you might not care too much about the health because of your mental state, and you might be down and out on yourself or anything like that. But I rest assured that it's people that do care about you, that want to see you still living here on Earth, and that having you protected is the best thing. No matter how you decide, your personal choice is this or that, you should really think about the people around you in these matters. But that's the data pretty much on that. And then point number 5 was vaccinations is the best protection against the Delta variant, period. So that was 5 points. You got something you want to add?
Yeah, it just has to be an ongoing a conversation about that and variations and you know what I'm saying, and variants, and you know, these are terminologies that those who are familiar with evolution will be familiar with. And I just think it's important, like we're doing, kind of taking it slow and kind of, you know, let it. So I think what I really want to say is, if you understand evolution, you're gonna go ahead and get vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? I think we just was like years ahead of everybody on that. If you understand the coronavirus, watch this, then you understand who the Egyptians was and who the Nubians was. I think I want to add that into it, Sean. I'm going to say it one more time. If you understand evolution, then you understand you should be vaccinated. If you understand you should be vaccinated through understanding evolution, then you understand who the Egyptians are and who the Nubians are and what that river actually represents and how it can cause different variants within the human population. Like, the whole thing is connected to understand what the hell we be talking about, period. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, we stay up on our A game. That's why the foundation of what we was doing was evolutionary minded, because we're surrounded by pathogens, and your medicine has to be evolutionary minded. So if your vitamins, if your herbs, right, are not used, right, in a manner that is evolutionary minded, then they're not going to work. The vaccines, the new vaccines, are made with evolution in mind. The old vaccines, was it antibodies that they was giving us for syphilis and all that shit, right? It wasn't evolutionary minded. That's why now they're starting not to work. All right? Because it wasn't made with evolution in mind. The new vaccines are absolutely made, right? It's evolutionary mind. Man, we talked about that six, 7 years ago, man. Our medicines have to be evolutionary minded. So even if you want to go back to the Bronze Age and the Stone Age, right, you would have to bring all the herbs up to speed. And if you're not doing that, then that means you don't understand evolution and you don't deserve to talk to the community. Nobody talking to our community about their health, right? Nobody should speak if you do not speak with evolution in mind. That's the key for everybody listening. If the person you're listening to denies evolution, say, I can't talk to you, dog, because you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the vaccines and when it comes to my health.
Yeah.
That's my add-on.
So what I have on the screen basically is a PDF article. Now, everything that I've actually shown today that you see on the screen, if it's not in the presentation form, I have in the description of the video. So if there's a source that you want to pull from to get more clarification or further read up on it, then you can. But the Delta coronavirus variant, scientists brace for impact. And in this article written by Callaway, it brings up some points that have already been stressed and made about the Delta variant and the U.S. spread, and some scientific articles and preprints that have been published as well. And I'm going to grab this and see if I can pull it up for everyone. And no, I don't want to do that. Let me just copy and go here. And I want to see if I can pull up if I can pull it up. Nope, they ain't gonna let me pull it up that way. However, but in this particular article, it's a preprint They talk about the U.S. spread of the Delta variant and how it's the rising fast, while the Alpha fell for more than 70%. In the U.S. And it notes also that 70% of the eligible New Yorkers have received at least one dose of the vaccine, which is a good thing for New Yorkers. But who's at risk? Of course, Africa's always a central piece for being the most at risk because it's a large terrain and you can't get resources in those certain areas fast enough. So I just wanted to kind of hint on that real quick. But these other articles just make the argument redundant because we've already went through some certain things. But I think this is important here. The variant can invade parts of your immune system. Okay, the variant can invade parts of the immune system. Now, the higher chances of spreading Delta to other people isn't the only concern. With Delta, we have a virus that has all these transmission advantages that Alpha did, Gunther says. But Delta can also dodge parts of the immune system, which gives it an extra advantage over Alpha. That explains, in our view, why it causes problems everywhere. For instance, antibodies from both recovered and vaccinated people were less potent at stopping Delta from infectious cells than Alpha or the original version of the virus from Wuhan, China. Gunther and colleagues reported in a preliminary study on June 22nd. And when the team analyzed a cluster of COVID-19 cases in healthcare workers who had been vaccinated with AstraZeneca shot at a hospital in India in April, the researchers found that most were infected with Delta. Now, the same was true at 2 other healthcare centers in Delhi. Again, the Delta may be more likely to infect some vaccinated people called breakthrough infections than variants like the Alpha. Now, on the whole, vaccines still seem to do the job. We know this for a fact because Moderna has done a swell job. But in the instance, you've heard recent data from an Israel study that talked about Pfizer's protection against the Delta variant went from 96% to 68 or 70%. We heard that, and we'll get into that in just a minute because I'm gonna give you both sides of it, not the whole thing. All right, so let me be even more specific. Look at this. It says, amid the breakthrough infections, vaccinations so far still protecting people against the worst of the COVID-19. A preliminary study, for instance, found that COVID-19 appears to be less effective against Delta than some other variants, but 2 shots are better than 1. A single dose of Pfizer or AstraZeneca's vaccine is around 33% effective at preventing symptomatic disease. For Delta infections 3 weeks after shot, researchers report that on May 24th, that's compared to 55% effective against Alpha. A second dose of Pfizer's jab, however, raised effectiveness against Delta to 88% against Delta, down 93.4 against Alpha. A second dose of AstraZeneca shot is around 60% effective, down 66 against Alpha. Protection from hospitalizations is even better, researchers reported in June of the 21st. Now it says preliminary studies from the Public Health of England. A single dose Pfizer COVID vaccine was 94% effective in keeping people out of hospital after being infected with Delta, and 1 dose of AstraZeneca was 71% effective. You see the difference? 2 doses bumped those numbers up. So after having a second dose, it was 96 and 92% respectively of keeping people out of the hospital. So far, in highly vaccinated places like the UK and Israel, for instance, the rise of COVID cases hasn't yet been linked to large spike in hospitalizations or deaths. But hospitalizations and deaths tend to lag a couple of weeks behind case increases. So time will tell for both of those numbers. There's also a lot of information about Johnson & Johnson's. We had some good information about Johnson & Johnson being effective against Delta as well. Johnson & Johnson reported that information on their website. But vaccines don't protect everyone equally, and I think this is what people don't understand. All right. You got something you want to add?
Yeah. So, I think you kind of talked about some of the breakthrough infections. You talk about that vaccines don't work the same on everybody, and I just want the people to know that they knew that. Like they already knew. They understand the body, how it works. They understand how different people
Yeah,
My Senate?
that's what we on.
Huh?
Yeah, we on Science with Sean.
Okay, yeah, I'm doing it wrong. My fault. Let me send you somebody, yo. Yeah, man, they tripping. It's funny. Absolutely,
Yep.
bro. So, there's nothing new, nothing wait 30 years. Is it all one word, yo?
Hold on. What you need, the link?
Yeah, I want to type it to you. I'm on another phone. I want to type it into another joint. Because the thing ought to knock you off. Science, SCIENCE, what?
Yeah, it's just science. Just put Science and Sean with space, because it ain't on there with the W. Just put Science Sean.
Science, Sean?
Science and Sean. Science space Sean.
What?
Science.
What? Your phone going off.
Science.
I got it.
Space.
Sean.
Yeah.
God damn. Why you do that? Crazy.
It wouldn't put the W in there. There go the thing right there, yeah. I texted to you.
I know you did. That shit ain't even coming up. Sean, you're crazy, yo.
I sent the link.
I know you did, but that's gonna knock me off the string because you got string. I got it. You got the W. It's Science W, which McCall with Sean.
Okay, well then do that.
Nah, that's on my feed though.
Yep, that's gonna take you to the thing. So the Delta variant likely won't be the last. New variants will continue to emerge. And why is that? Because of unvaccinated people. It's just that simple. When you create an atmosphere to where a virus cannot survive, it does not no longer exist. So as long as you have unvaccinated people, you will continue to have issues. Unvaccinated people, you're going to have issues. Straight up and down. There's no, hold on, let me let my dog in. There's no way around it.
Yeah, Mika. I ain't been looking for a moment because I've been studying. You trying to finish up my books. Yeah, I got a book coming out with it, the origins of the Egyptians and the Nubians. I'm working on it for a while.
You crazy.
Yep, been working on that shit for a while, yo.
But
Big
it
project, so
is.
that should take forever. Huh?
No, I was saying it is what it is. But people just really don't understand it. What you
They
looking at me for?
understand evolution? No, I understand none of that shit you saying right now.
My dog mad because I put him on the couch. You want to lay up under me? No, sir. All right, so variants will continue to emerge as the coronavirus spread. That's just a given. And this is why we say what we say, and we take the position that we take when you're talking about how does this have anything to do with unvaccinated people. The virus will continue. As long as the virus spreads, variants will continue to emerge. There you go.
Who
There's
say that
no
now?
other way. Your boy, man, on your post.
Yeah, but since that's why I don't even respond. I let you get them dudes. Like I'm like you gotta respond, but I'm not responding because then I'm gonna be an agent and then I'm gonna cuss them out and then I done messed up the post. That's the rule.
Well, he
You
on
call
your
me an
post.
agent, I'm going straight to your mouth. Huh?
He on your post.
I know. I ain't respond because before you know it, I'm gonna be an agent and I go straight to your mother when you call me an agent. Straight,
Yeah.
going straight for it. Straight there. I'm not gonna pass. You know what I mean? Dottie said, "Don't pass go. Don't do none of that." I'm going straight to it. Yeah, and then I'm gonna block you, cause you're gonna keep doing. I'm gonna keep doing it, and so I look crazy on posts. I can't help it. But yeah, the conversation of vaccines is an evolutionary conversation, yo. Let me see.
Yeah.
So they like to talk about your wishmacomet if you pre-existing conditions. So let's really talk about the pre-existing conditions. Let's talk about the NFL players. I've heard you speak
hold
on
on,
different.
hold on. We got a question, and I think Richard. Unfortunately, Richard, I think you joined the show late, but we pretty much answered this. All right, 99.5% of the deaths over the last 6 months have been people who are unvaccinated. All right. As far as hospitalizations, 99% of the people hospitalized have been unvaccinated people.
He's talking about the variant.
No. Listen to me. He says, has the hospitalizations in America of people not vaccinated increased since the introduction of the Delta variant by percentage in comparison to the original virus?
Oh, yep.
No. Listen to the way that he phrased it. Because we have a working vaccine. There's no way that the percentages could be higher with a vaccine. We didn't have a vaccine then. We can't surpass those numbers. He was trying to be slick with the.
I thought he was talking about the unvaccinated people.
Look, he says, has the hospitalizations in America of people not vaccinated increased since the introduction of the Delta variant? Listen, by percentage in comparison to the original virus. It can be by percentage because in some areas you have, like California has a real high vaccination rate. New York has a real high vaccination rate. So the virus doesn't have a potential in some areas to transmit into other people, to unvaccinated, and cause more issues to increase hospitalizations. But overall, based on where we are since the Delta variant emerged, because the Delta variant is only 6 months, 7 months old. I mean, well, 7.5 or 8 months since December 2020. The Delta variant in that case has been the more dominant than the Alpha, which was leading. So in the unvaccinated people, percentage-wise, yes, there's 99% of the people hospitalized right now are and dead are due to the Delta. But no, overall, because you can't really put that math beside each other and determine that, because we didn't have a vaccine in 2020 until that was administered to us until the end of 2020. So it's not a fair comparison.
But I
Because
don't. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see the question that way, Sean.
okay,
So
well, how
you
you
very well could be.
you breaking up? You breaking up, and I know you sitting over there just talking. I knew it was gonna start raining. Stop, dude. Leave my cords alone. All right, Unc fell off. Unc will be back, and we'll get with that. But Richard, you can't compare and contrast, bro. We have a working vaccine. But if you want to start at December, from December until now, then I'm going to say that the Delta variant, the percentages for unvaccinated regarding the Delta variant is more than any other variant. Because the last 6 months, the Delta variant has been the dominant variant. It has increased all the other areas. It's raining. You going to sleep? That's my dog, y'all. He just jumped off the couch and flopped on her. I thought he wanted to lay on the couch. The couch is for him. All right, so what I want to do real quick till I get Unc back, and let me plug up my laptop. I'm gonna play a video real quick. Let me go back to my presentation because I don't want YouTube kicking me. So, copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Let's see if we get Unc back. Yep, there we go. All right, Unc. So I'm gonna put the question back up. And you want me to read it to you again?
Yeah, I thought he was just strictly talking about the unvaccinated people.
Yeah, so he says, has the hospitalizations in America of people not vaccinated, that's what he's talking about, not vaccinated.
Right.
Remember, we just got a vaccine end of December, but it wasn't available to us until months after that. So has the hospitalizations in America of people not vaccinated increased since the introduction of the Delta variant by percentage in comparison to the original virus? Give me a second. I'm going to let you answer that. You want to answer?
Yeah, I thought you said give you a second. Huh?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm here.
You answered?
Now, so for me, has the hospitalization in America of people not vaccinated increased since the introduction of the Delta variant by percentage? Then it says, so if you answer that part right there, is yes. Its hospitalization is up 10% since that new variant is in, and they all have the quote-unquote the worst common variant. They all got that variant. Was Delta variant, right? Yeah, they got that. And so the leading variant in America today is the Delta variant, and it's starting to be scary now because those numbers are up 10% in different places. Hospitalizations now. It's starting to rise now. Unvaccinated. Then the second part is, in comparison to the original virus. Well, I don't even understand that part. The original virus. You mean, what variant of the original virus are you talking about? So, you're saying, to your point,
he's talking about the Chinese variant because that would be that's the source variant. but the source variant, it didn't. I mean, the source variant made it to America, but it wasn't I wouldn't say it made it to America. A mutation of the source variant made it to America, because the first variant that we saw coming off those planes, whether it be California or New York, was the UK variant.
Yeah, it went to Europe. So
which would be Alpha.
yeah.
Which would be Alpha. Alpha made it to US.
Yeah,
first.
But I could just say the shit as well. And if you go back to the pandemic of 1819. No, 19. Was it 1918?
1918.
1918. This particular virus, and people talk about you gotta have a strong immune system. Wait a minute. 1918 pandemic, it actually attacked younger people with more vibrant immune systems. How about that, y'all? See, y'all didn't know that. I'm gonna say it again. In 1918, the M1H1 actually attacked those with more vibrant and younger immune systems. See, I didn't know that fact right there. So all that I have a vibrant immune system, I'm younger, I don't got no underlying conditions. Man, this shit can attack you just because you don't got that. That's the point. Like, stop trying to do the guesswork. Stop trying to elderberry yourself out of here. Stop trying to vitamin C yourself out of here. Stop trying to herb yourself out of here. It ain't that complex and it ain't that serious. It's not that, like, you got 25 years, right? Starting with the Africans to show that this process works. So it's like you're doing too much. They've turned a vaccine into a damn brand new scare tactic. It's just a vaccine. It's not a mechanism to kill people. There's no history of that. It's the safest medicine we have in the United States. There's no way to tweak it to kill black people because there's no race-based medicine. So, like, you don't hear people say, watch this. Hey, man, we know we from West Africa because a lot of people in West Africa carry the sickle cell. So that must mean that sickle cell is exclusively something that happens to those in West Africa. I even heard a nurse tell me one time when we was, delivering our baby, they was like, well, man, that's amazing how people have the sickle cell. She was wrong at 2 left feet because you can go to the Mediterranean Basin and find people with sickle cell. You can go to certain parts of India and find people with the sickle cell. So it's not a race-based thing, right? There's no such thing as that. So wait a minute. Black people in North America have higher rates of high blood pressure and sugar. That's not true. The reason black people in North America have higher rates of heart disease and high blood pressure is because of the conditions we live in. So if you put white people and Chinese people in those same conditions, then you get the same thing. There is no race. You cannot genetically tell what race a person belongs to. That's why the whole Egyptian-Nubian argument is debauchery. Okay? I'm letting y'all know that. The whole thing of black and white people seeing black people and thought that the darker black people wasn't Egyptians and they was Nubians because the Nubians was darker, you know what I'm saying, on a whole than the Egyptian was, meaning that there was a different type of, I hear people say different type of African, this, that, and the other. No. So I am telling you, within the population that you're calling Egyptian, there are more variation between individuals than between the Nubian and Egyptian population. And if you don't understand what I just said, then you're not going to understand the coronavirus. Funny. But go ahead, Sean. I don't want to introduce the whole Egyptian conversation. I don't want to do it. But I did it, but I don't want to do it. But anyway.
All right. So yeah, and at the end of the day, hold on, let me put it back on the screen. You know, 'cause I like going to the social media scientists. You know what I'm saying? They're the best epidemiologists, virologists, and yeah, in the world. And they always show up on your post. We have the best of the scientific community on Unc's post every go. Now the message on the message up under mine was CK because of something that Har had said that does he have evidence about something? So I don't want to go there now. Your boy Animal Brando, he said you might as well work for the white man in destroying black people. What he said.
What was my response?
Let me see what you said. You didn't respond.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did. You put Animal Brando. You put get well soon. You totally get well soon. But the boy, your boy, Donavio Sherman, I don't know what's up with this dude. This dude said he never had a flu or a COVID vaccine. He act like COVID just been a vaccine that they just been administering for month after month after month after month after month. I mean, a year after year. He all the way tripping. But Genova said mask wearing, F it, social distancing, F it, the fake virus, and now the virus fake again, y'all. And look, then he put Alchemist. He rocking with that. Sheeple, he called you Sheeple. You didn't say nothing to him. And then of course El Mahadi. What's up with Kim, bro? I thought she was literate.
No, she's a nurse and she's illiterate in that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I thought she was literate, because I thought she was a nurse. Like,
you know, the nurse can be worse. A nurse can be worse sometimes.
Nah, my cousin, a nurse, bro. She done had COVID and she didn't get the vaccine.
I know, but the nurse be the most problem, yo. You know that, yo. It's crazy as fuck. What about the hospitals with nurses fighting against getting the shot, yo? Remember? They're the worst.
Yeah, that's in Texas, though, huh?
Man, no, that's everywhere, yo. Obviously.
Nah, look, listen. All right, so look.
Sean, I'm telling you, yo, that Kim is my friend, yo. But my friend is on the wrong side of the issue. She says that being a nurse doesn't allow you to express yourself. You got to go by the standard stuff they're talking about. It don't allow you to express yourself. Right.
She shouldn't be a nurse. She shouldn't be a nurse.
Nah, she should be a nurse because she go by the nurse shit when she doing a nurse. But this her off time shit. She be a nurse. I ain't gonna never say she shouldn't be a nurse. I'm saying she wouldn't be my nurse.
Nah, I don't want.
Get out the room.
Yeah, I'm not going to her. I would listen. If she in there, I want a whole new nurse.
Yeah, listen, man, nurses is different, yo.
70% of nurses have received the vaccine.
Right, so she falling to 30%, yo. The talking nonsense.
The 30% who reported they have not. And listen to this. And those who identify as Black or African American make up 46% of the 30%.
What?
So I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it for everybody again.
Yo, drop that link for me, please. Drop that link. I need that link to post that. Give me that link, man.
Hold up.
Let me translate. 46% of the nurses are crazy as hell as Black. Hell no, boy.
It's in your email.
That shit funny, yo. You put the actual thing itself, right?
I put the link in there.
Alright, that's so funny.
I ain't put the quote.
Yeah, man, Kim is a stock supporter of what I do, yo. She supported me with the shoot like a stock supporter, yo. I mean, all the way.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said I thought she was literate.
Nah, she not literate. She not scientific. She'll cut you out, though. She'll cut you out. She'll definitely cut you out if you say, what? Nigga, I'm a nigga. Nigga, I went to school. I got the master's degree. Nigga. Yeah.
All right,
y'all
so.
think of everything. I don't know shit. I know you wrong, though.
Look, since the first American, a critical care nurse in New York, received a vaccine. A new survey data from the American Nurses Foundation of more than 22,000 nurses nationwide shows that while a majority, 70% of the nurses have received the vaccine, barriers still exist. Among 30% of the nurses who reported that they have not received the vaccine, those who identify as Black or African American make up the largest percentage, which is 46% of nurses who are not vaccinated. Of the 30% of nurses surveyed, who have not been vaccinated, a quarter are undecided. Respondents' reasons for not wanting to get the vaccine include being fearful of the shot or long-term side effects, which was 66%, and not having enough information about the vaccine, which was 50%.
Yeah, Sean, that's my point, Sean. Is that these misinformation niggas, yo, is getting to the Black community more often than they get to the
How
other
can
community.
a nurse in a hospital who sees what COVID is doing to people sit there and say, I don't know about this vaccine? You watching people die. You watch them die the whole pandemic. You watch people lungs have to have lung transplants. You watch people lose their taste and smell, have diarrhea problem, have gastrointestinal problems. You watch people have heart issue. You don't watch people get ravaged by a virus, and you finna sit here and say, I don't know.
You can hear me, yo?
What kind of nurse is she? Because she could be wiping butts at an old folks' home claiming she a nurse. You broke up. Now I want to know where she nursed at.
Hey,
What
Sean,
up?
you couldn't hear me before, could you?
Nope, you went out.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing about white, but I don't know what kind of, you won't get me cussed out. You trying to get me cussed out now.
What kind of nurse is she? I don't think she worked in
know.
a hospital nurse.
I don't know, yo.
She one of them at a clinic nurses.
All I know is that she wrong is 2 left feet. No matter what she say, no matter how she say it, she gonna bring unqualified white people to the situation. All I can tell you is, if you're a nurse and you Black, go to your local hospital and ask to speak to your virologist in that hospital. Tell them to sit you down and educate you on vaccines. That's all. That's my advice to the nurses that are qualified. I'm asking that of you. That's what I'm asking. It's simple as that. But it's a shame that 46% of that 30% is Black nurses.
Mm-hmm.
Bananas and malarkey and is downright horrid. You know what I'm saying? That we're acting this stage. And it's because these people that we all know that's spilling the misinformation of ignorance across our community of fear mongering, bro.
Yeah, but here's my thing though. Nurses promote the fact that vaccines have prevented disease and saved lives. So again, how you're in a hospital, I understand that you don't have the same knowledge that I might be reading or Unc might be reading, but how do you even come to a faulty premise? I mean, how do you even come to a faulty conclusion when you're sitting right there as a primary source for what the virus is actually doing to people? This is why I'm saying what kind of nurse she is, because maybe she haven't seen what has happened during this pandemic, because she might have been wiping ass.
No, she ain't that. You stupid. I ain't fucking with you with that.
Or she might have been in the nursing station in the hospital.
No, you got nurses that go door to door too, yo.
She ain't going no damn door to door.
Yeah, that's what she do. She do that.
Bro, that lady that doctor that created the mobile testing site in Philadelphia, where Kim is, created a mobile testing site, Black lady, and drove around in underprivileged areas and began testing people for COVID, and then giving them, certain things and like that in the area to help them, because they didn't have means of getting to a hospital. So she created a mobile testing site.
Yeah, but she's not doing that. She on the other side, yo. She's not gonna tell nobody to get the vaccine. Yo, how long we been on here, yo?
I've been on here for about an hour and a half, yo. 45.
Ain't we about at the limit of people's attention span at this point?
Yeah, I'm almost there. I got one more thing that I wanted to go over. This 7 minutes.
We're gonna leave Kim alone. She loves us, yo. We're gonna leave her alone.
No, well, she love you. She ain't my friend.
Yeah. But
All
my
right, so
friend is your friend.
I'm gonna play this video, Unc, and then I'm gonna end right
My
here.
friend is your friend, and your friend is my friend.
I don't know. My friends get vaccinated. I'm getting rid of unvaccinated friends.
Nah, I ain't going that hard. But you're not going out. Shout out to Black Panther, yo. He came over yesterday, yo. Vaccinated, fully vaccinated, yo, and we watched the game. You're not coming to my house unvaccinated. That's the rule. Yeah, we don't play that unmasked up. That's how we do it around here. You ain't got a vaccine, I talk to you out on the porch.
They got to call you on the phone. They want to talk to you.
Yeah, call me on the phone with that dumb shit. Don't be looking at my face, because everybody I done ran across and my family done got vaccinated. Even shout out to Mississippi, man, Oklahoma, man. Man, they vaccinated down there, man.
Yeah, that's all I've been around when I went to the country. When I went to the country, them people getting vaccinated. I ain't no lie, we ain't vaccinated. Yeah, we are. Look, they over there like, yeah, I know. They say, hey, you had your shot? Like, yes, man. Here go my card. I travel with my card. I keep my card in my pocket. My card like my new license.
Yeah, because they got a lot of people caught that shit down there in Mississippi. They be like, man, that was some crazy shit. I done caught it. Let me get
Yeah, ain't no plan.
Once you get it, you know, the hard way, yo. I'm gonna have Sarnetta on the show, man. He's gonna talk about his bout with coronavirus. Show. Talk to him.
Okay, well, yeah, you have fun with that. Yeah, I'm gonna play this video and then I'm gonna end. I'm finna show people how the coronavirus get in your body.
All right, I'm out though, yo. Peace to everybody, man. Man, make sure y'all subscribe, man. Hit that like button, man. Signs for Sean, man. Subscribe to the Pseudo Killers. You know, subscribe to the Kofi Pasa research team. Subscribe to the Master Clan Warriors, Magi Archers, man. I'm a Raw Squad up, man. We out.
Here we go.
This is SARS-CoV-2. It belongs to the family of coronaviruses named for the crown-like spikes on their surfaces. SARS-CoV-2 can cause COVID-19, a contagious viral infection that attacks primarily your throat and lungs. What actually happens in your body when you contract the coronavirus? What exactly causes your body to develop pneumonia? And how would a vaccine work? The coronavirus must infect living cells in order to reproduce. Let's have a closer look. Inside the virus, genetic material contains the information to make more copies of itself. A protein shell provides a hard protective enclosure for the genetic material as the virus travels between the people it infects. An outer envelope allows the virus to infect cells by merging with the cell's outer membrane. Projecting from the envelope are spikes of protein molecules. Both a typical influenza virus and the new coronavirus use their spikes like a key to get inside a cell in your body, where it takes over the cell's internal machinery, repurposing it to build the components of new viruses. When an infected person talks, coughs, or sneezes, droplets carrying the virus may land in your mouth or nose and then move into your lungs. Once inside your body, the virus comes in contact with cells in your throat, nose, or lungs. One spike on the virus inserts into a receptor molecule on your healthy cell membrane like a key in a lock. This action allows the virus to get inside your cell. A typical flu virus would travel inside a sac made from your cell membrane to your cell's nucleus that houses all its genetic material. The coronavirus, on the other hand, doesn't need to enter the host cell nucleus. It can directly access parts of the host cell called ribosomes. Ribosomes use genetic information from the virus to make viral proteins, such as the spikes on the virus's surface. A packaging structure in your cell then carries the spikes in vesicles, which merge with your cell's outer layer, the cell membrane. All the parts needed to create a new virus gather just beneath your cell's membrane. Then, a new virus begins to bud off from the cell's membrane. Now, with the virus spreading in your body, how can you develop pneumonia symptoms? For this, we'll have to look into your lungs. Each lung has separate sections called lobes. Normally, as you breathe, air moves freely through your trachea or windpipe, then through large tubes called bronchi, through smaller tubes called bronchioles, and finally into tiny sacs called alveoli. Your airways and alveoli are flexible and springy. When you breathe in, each air sac inflates like a small balloon. And when you exhale, the sacs deflate. Small blood vessels called capillaries surround your alveoli. Oxygen from the air you breathe passes into your capillaries, and then carbon dioxide from your body passes out of your capillaries into your alveoli so that your lungs can get rid of it when you exhale. Your airways catch most germs in the mucus that lines your trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles. In a healthy body, hair-like cilia lining the tubes constantly push the mucus and germs out of your airways, where you might expel them by coughing. Normally, cells of your immune system attack viruses and germs that make it past your mucus and cilia and enter your alveoli. However, if your immune system is weakened, like in the case of a coronavirus infection, the virus can overwhelm your immune cells, and your bronchioles and alveoli become inflamed as your immune system attacks the multiplying viruses. The inflammation can cause your alveoli to fill with fluid, making it difficult for your body to get the oxygen it needs. You could develop lobar pneumonia, where one lobe of your lungs is affected, or you could have bronchopneumonia that affects many areas of both lungs. Pneumonia may cause difficulty breathing, chest pain, coughing, fever and chills, confusion, headache, muscle pain, and fatigue. It can also lead to more serious complications. Respiratory failure occurs when your breathing becomes so difficult that you need a machine called a ventilator to help you breathe. These are the machines that save lives and that medical device companies currently ramp up production for. Whether you would develop these symptoms depends on a lot of factors, such as your age and whether you already have an existing condition. While this all sounds scary, the push to develop a coronavirus vaccine is moving at high speed. Studies of other coronaviruses led most researchers to assume that people who have recovered from a SARS-CoV-2 infection could be protected from reinfection for a period of time. But that assumption needs to be backed by empirical evidence, and some studies suggest otherwise. There are several different approaches for a potential vaccine against the coronavirus. The basic idea is that you would get a shot that contains faint versions of the virus. The vaccine would expose your body to a version of the virus that is too weak to cause infection, but just strong enough to stimulate an immune response. Within a few weeks, cells in your immune system would make markers called antibodies, which would be specific for only the coronavirus, or specifically its spike protein. Antibodies then attach to the virus and prevent it from attaching to your cells. Your immune system then responds to signals from the antibodies by consuming and destroying the clumps of viruses. If you then catch the real virus at a later stage, your body would recognize it and destroy it. In other words, your immune system is now primed. Collecting evidence on whether this will be possible, safe, and effective is part of what's taking researchers so long to develop a vaccine. It's a race against time to develop a vaccine amid a pandemic. Each step in vaccine development usually takes months, if not years. An Ebola vaccine broke records by being ready in 5 years. The hope here is to develop one for the new coronavirus in a record-breaking 12 to 18 months. While all of this will take time, stay home if you can, to protect the most vulnerable. And don't forget to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds and as often as possible. This video was a collaboration between Nucleus Medical.
Now, that's just giving you some insight on how the actual virus ravages your body and how it goes through and does everything that it needs to do. Now, the video initially, of course, was published before the vaccine actually came out and hit. And now we know that we actually had a record-breaking vaccine, the mRNA, due to technology that was done, 20-something years ago and brought it to the forefront. We now know that we have over 160 million fully vaccinated, 180 million with at least one dose. We know that. So what can we learn from today's lesson is that the Delta variant is more transmissible. It has different amino acids, and the spike variation is different from different variants, which makes it susceptible to invading the immune system. We found that out. We uncovered a few things that also illustrated that, but this clearly answers questions about why we need to know what we need to know about the Delta variant and its significance to us as a people. But more importantly, we answered the social media scientist question on what the Delta variant was and what he didn't seem to understand, what I made the conversation shorten. However, I do see a couple of people in the chat, so I'm gonna kind of see if I can answer Brother Chill and see what Pierce said here. Now, I know Pierce a joke. He said, I seen a gang of crackheads line up for the vaccines. Facts. He said, probably because they ain't scared of needles. And then Brother Chill said, but I flipped on one nurse back to the good side when I shared Unc's show with the virologist with her elbow cough. Thanks, Doc. Okay, yeah, that's real. Zane said, okay, y'all talking about anatomy and things of that nature. But nah, I'm for real, man. Like, I've been working really hard on trying to make sure that our people are well educated about the vaccine and shouldn't have a fear of the vaccination. To simply say, well, it's just a personal choice, that's not good enough for me. A personal choice for who? Because your personal choice can lead to the death of somebody else, if not your own. Your personal choice can lead to further hospitalization and potential illnesses in your own body. And then that in return affects your child. Yeah, I'm being specific here. It'll affect your child. It'll affect your loved ones. And ultimately, it'll affect you, your inability to be able to provide for your loved ones and take care of your responsibilities for your child and do the things that you need to do. So your choice, right? And I'm being specific here. Your choice of saying or stating that you don't want to get the vaccine, you're not anti-vax, you don't have no dog in the fight, you just choose to not get it, is correct. A public health issue, because you're going to go around family members and friends who are susceptible of being sick or getting sick, and you transmitting it. Whether you have an asymptomatic reaction and you going around people not knowing that you sick or whatnot, and then you just passing it off, or you not giving a damn wholeheartedly because you're currently dealing with other situations or other health issues, so you really don't give a damn about this particular issue. That's a problem. Like, I don't want to be associated with knowing that somebody is hospitalized due to COVID-19 and potentially dying or die from COVID-19, and I know you, like, personally, like I know you, like we have some type of relationship or some friendship or something there. Like, I don't want to deal with that, because I worked my ass off to make sure that this was a viable vaccine for all of us. If it wasn't a viable vaccine for us, I would have been the first person to be like, man, after doing all of this research, I don't know, I think that we should wait, or I think that we should just continue to be more preventative, or I think that we should do this or do that. We need to look for other alternatives. The other alternatives don't even add up to getting the vaccine. So no, I don't want to associate with people that's been ignoring what I've been trying to help people understand for over a year and a half, especially regarding the COVID-19, because I know and seen what it has done to other people. And I don't want nobody on my friends that's falling out over it because of I just choose to not get the vaccine. You want to wait till everybody else get it so that they can protect you. That's disingenuous. We can't do that with every virus. Every virus is not like this virus. This virus is mutating 11 times. It is mutated, been more transmissible, has been more susceptible, has caused more issues in other people, and now we're dealing with the Delta variant. And on that note, I'm going to end Science with Sean, and we'll pick up on Kofi Pi Psi research team. And I'm going to say Shimon Hotel to everybody that tuned in. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend, tell a friend. See me on Kofi Pi Psi.